It's hard to define Tippi Hedren, the Hollywood legend and star of The Birds, Marnie, Roar, and The Countess from Hong Kong. She has been an active humanitarian, creator of a multi-million-dollar manicuring industry, and is the only actor to have worked on films with both Alfred Hitchcock and Charlie Chaplin. But her real passion is with the beauty and majesty of the big cats. Her recent biography looks into her acting career, but spends more time on her love of animals. Tippi is the founder of Shambala, a sprawling 40-acre wild animal sanctuary a few hours north of Los Angeles. Shambala is home to around 30 big cats.
I can't even imagine my life without these big cats. I can't even imagine it. I mean, they've given me so much. Certainly on understanding the species and totally respecting the qualities that are inborn into those beings and what is in that brain and what activates those instincts and just getting to know these animals. It's been a great honor. It's been something that we have to have done to be able to give them the life that we have given them, to be able to understand them. We can't understand everything about them. Enough to really give them a good life. There's something very, very fascinating about something of great beauty. The personality of the great cat is varied and elaborate and dangerous, and you know, they can kill you without even thinking twice about it. Well, I've always been in love with them, even before I even had a possibility of going to Africa. Seeing them actually in their own environment, in their own way of life and being free, and it was an astounding time.
Shambala Reserve is not a zoo or an animal park. It was set up to take on the role of looking after animals that no longer had a home in the U.S. Some were dropped off at the gates, others have come from circuses or zoos, and many from private pet ownership. It is estimated that over 3,500 tigers alone are in private ownership in the U.S., with many of them now too large to look after.
I don't know the exact numbers of them, but I know it has diminished because people are getting smarter. I mean, with the exotic feline, you're dealing with an apex predator. You're dealing with an animal who could just as soon kill you as just walk across the room. They are extremely dangerous. They have instincts born in them that can never be removed. And they are dangerous.
Tippi Hedren knows too well the dangers. During the production of her feature film, Roar, tigers and lions featured heavily in the story. This meant working closely with a number of dangerous animals, and incidents did happen.
I had seen a number of accidents caused by these animals. I was hurt. Practically all the people on our movie had some sort of an encounter with one of the animals, with a lion or a tiger. And they were going to name a wing at the Palmdale Hospital after us because we were there so much.
Melanie Griffith, Tippi's daughter, a well-known actor in her own right, was also on the set of Roar. Melanie was very used to having the big cats around, but even then, things can go wrong.
Gosh, she was leaned over. She did something. Anyway, one of the cats was a lion, and it got her right across her forehead. I just grabbed her and ran, got out the gate, and put her in the car, and we went to the doctor. And she had to have a whole, all these stitches put in her forehead. Fortunately, he did a really good job. You'd never know it. So I do know from where I speak, you know, these are not animals that should be in somebody's home as a pet or in captivity in somebody's backyard in an 8x10 cage or, you know, that kind of confinement. I think the American public is becoming smarter. They're becoming more aware of the fact that this is it's simply brutality to have those animals in a circus. It's not only brutal to keep the strict confinement that they're in, the treatment that they have in order to do those stupid tricks that they make them do is, it's obscene. It's horrible, and those poor animals, I'm surprised more people haven't been killed by these animals from the treatment they've had.
Shambala is Tippi's home. She shares the 40 acres with her cats, and in the past, it was common for some of the animals to live in the house, even to the point of sleeping on the bed with her daughter, Melanie. Tigers and lions were their pets, so much so that this image of a tiger jumping through the kitchen window was not set up. It was just one of the many daily events that happened over many years of rearing the big cats. But Tippi reached the conclusion that rather than having them as pets, they should be studied and left to live their natural lives rather than be part of the household. The decision was made to stop the interaction with the animals, especially after the dangers became more noticeable.
There was a whole group of women. They were in college. They wanted to have a photograph with a tiger. And they found the tiger, and the tiger was trained to stand there and be photographed. And they all went up and had their picture taken with the tiger, and one of them went up and the tiger moved and stepped on the girl's foot, and she screamed, and the tiger jumped her. There are situations that are so frightening and so unnecessary. It never should happen. In fact, at one point I remember gathering my staff around and I said there will be no more contact with any of the animals again. Right now, it's over, it's done. And they were all really angry because they really enjoyed having that one-on-one with the animal, with the lion or the tiger. And they were smart, they knew what they were doing, but that doesn't make a difference. You're dealing with an apex predator who has the top say. They have the top word. It's a great honor to have one of these animals be your friend. To know that that animal recognizes you and likes you, but they're a weapon. They're a weapon, and they operate simply on their minds and their instincts. And you can't ever forget that. When you're not dealing with a killer, I think any kind of an animal needs to have whoever becomes the power of in a captive situation must know everything about that species, about what does that animal need, and what can I give it that they need, not what I feel like giving them. You know, oh well, I've got an 8x10 cage out in my backyard. That'll be fine. He'll fit in there. That's not enough. No, there's a great deal to know about an animal, any animal that you decide to take into your life, no matter what it is. Whether it's, my little cat that just walked by or whatever. What can I give that animal that will give him a life that he will be content? And if you look at it that way, there probably wouldn't be so many unhappy, miserable animals in captivity. I think there are a lot of people who would like to have a wild animal as a pet. You know, of course, it depends on the type of wild animal that you choose. However, if you're choosing an apex predator to become your pet, you're making a very, very big mistake. A huge mistake, because the instincts in those animals are in there. It's in their brain. And there's nothing you can do to change that. They will always be a danger. You just don't ever know when it's going to come to the foreground, and most likely you wouldn't have the strength or the knowledge of how to react to it. I mean, these animals are powerful beyond belief. I don't know, the tensile strength of these animals is one that we can't, in their greatest amount of power that they exude, there isn't any way that you could fight that other than a bullet. I feel very, very grateful that I've been able to have this life with the big cats. I am very grateful that I have managed to become an older woman. I've still got all my limbs and I'm still walking upright, because there have been times when I was put in the hospital, because you're dealing with an entity that is so powerful and so unforgiving. And they're not good at telling you what their plans are. We feel very, very fortunate that we haven't had any serious problems with these animals. And I do not recommend anyone acquiring a lion or a tiger as a pet for any reason. The fascinating thing about them is that you just never know. I mean, you can have 10 years of just absolute angel lion, angel tiger, and then bam. It's like playing Russian roulette.
Shambala has its role. It is one place where lions and tigers can feel safe and cared for. Tippi Hedren has done so much for these animals. They are in captivity, but the respect shown to each and every one of them goes without saying. But the final word on owning a predator pet is a warning.
With the exotic cats, you're dealing with a serial killer.